family values event or the like sit down, how you guys actually did it. So Scott, I'm going to have you kind of give us brief insight into how you guys went about crafting your family values. And then after he goes, Thatcher, I want you to talk about how you guys have practically used the family values in kind of like your week to week living, because a lot of people hear values and they think they're just like these nice kind of things to have, but they're not necessarily super practical, but they really are if they use them correctly. So Scott, start by talking everybody through just a little bit the overview of how you guys put together these values as a family.
So this is just like your organization, your corporation has values and they're, placed on the wall. Your family should have the same. It requires you to have a family meeting. You sit down, everybody gets a vote. Mom and dad get veto power. And you talk about what kind of family do we want? What do we want the atmosphere to be like? What do we want to feel like? How do we want our family to support us? What do the behaviors look like? And so we sat down in a family meeting and wrote down all kinds of values. And we came up, I think, with about 8 or 9 of them. Any more that was unrealistic. But our family values basically boiled down into we don't trash talk each other. We do not compare ourselves to each other. We do not disparage each other. I mean, this is very clear in our family. And they try every day to violate them. But the good news is we come back to them. And when I say to the boys, one of our family values is we do not compare our tennis scores to each other. We do not compare our grades to each other, or our height, or our weight, or you whatever you want to. What boys will do, right? At shower time, you get the point. It happens all the time. And so TMI, I know, welcome to Raising Boys. This is a codified strategy in our home. We have very clear values that we do not violate. And when we do, we call each other out on. Because do you want Smith to be trash talking you?
No, of course not.
No, we want our brothers to be our biggest champions. Are you going to violate them? Yes, but you only know you're violating them when one of us calls you out on them, including me as well. Our family values were really focused on we don't engage in negative self-talk. We don't trash talk our siblings. We don't compare ourselves. We support each other. At the end of the day, we know that our family members have our back. And I tell you, when it comes to life, is when I see the boys out in public, it's so interesting to see how positively Smith talks about Thatcher, how positively Thatcher talks about Smith. And I love to see the 3 of them support each other in public. That's when I know it's done its job. It's a meeting, it's a process, probably takes you an hour or 2, and then you reinforce them, right? You put them on posters, you put them in lunch boxes, you put them on cards and wallets, you remind each other constantly what it is, and the boys can tell you the family values.
Yeah, but real quick, Thatcher, I'm sorry, before you go, just to interrupt you. I want to, Scott, I want you ran through a few of the questions already. Like, what do we want to feel like? How do we want to treat each other? Riff off a few of those questions that people can, because if you're listening to this or watching this, taking notes, like these are questions that you need to write down in order to do this with your family. So what are some of those questions again?
How are we going to treat each other? What does that look like in our behavior? What does it sound like in the words we use and the words we don't use? What does it feel like when your brother is living the values? What does it feel like when your father isn't living the values? How are we going to call each other out on it in a way that doesn't, reprimands us, but reminds us there's a difference? And so it's really about how does the family feel? Does it feel safe? Does it feel like we all have a growth mindset? We support each other? I mean, honestly, the vibe of your family changes when everybody agrees that we do not speak disparagingly about each other, that we don't compare ourselves to each other, that we don't talk negatively about ourselves or our family members. That doesn't mean you can't have hard conversations, that you don't call things out, but it fundamentally changes your family dynamic when there is a zero tolerance for comparison amongst each other. Smith tried to do it this morning in the car. Well, why does Thatcher get to have his phone when I don't? Well, Thatcher's 2 years older than you are. He has more privileges. He's not abused it like you have. And he actually turned his laptop in and didn't hide it down in his bedroom and try to bait and switch us with the cover. That's why, Smith. More questions, son? That was the exact conversation in the car going to school this morning.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I appreciate that. Yeah. So Thatcher, again, how do you guys feel like this shows up on a daily, weekly basis? How do you feel like you're reminded of these and you live these out?
Yeah, I'd say at least 5 times a day, my brothers and my dad and my mom are reminding me of when I'm not doing the right thing, when I'm not following our family values. at least 4 times a day, my dad's saying, "Are you speaking to your brother kindly? We don't disparage our siblings." And because we're brothers, we like to bicker and fight about literally everything. If we could fight about the air in the room, we would do it. Because we're brothers. That's what 15 and 13-year-olds do. But I made a list of values that I listed in the book, and one of them is that I know my worth and I don't chase validation. And I think every single teenager needs this in their life. Because everyone, including me at sometimes, cares about what other 15-year-olds think. But what my mom and dad have told me, and everyone else that's really important, is that you only need a few people that you actually care about what they think about you. My mom, my dad, God, and my godfather and my godmother. Anyone besides that is kind of out of like the very close inner circle. Of course, Nick, I care about what you think, or I care about what the CEO of Bitcoin thinks, but those are the people that I really care about what they think about me when it comes to my inner circle. When it comes to when I'm acting at home, how I'm acting from my brothers, how I'm acting by myself. Instead of just in front of people, of course I act differently to my friends than I do to my parents, but trying to live through that inner circle with all my friends and not really caring about what they think is so important to me.
Are you in the CEO of Bitcoin Besties?
Hopefully.
Dang, okay. You know, that was a strange idea, but I applaud your knowledge of Bitcoin.
There you go.
I think it's also important to call them out when they are living it. It's
Yeah.
not just when you're not. I hope that occasionally you feel, you can call me out if I'm wrong, but positive reinforcement is so much more important than negative reinforcement, because I want them to know that's exactly the vibe. That's what you just did with your brother. That's the culture we want in our family. So I hope we call it out. Probably not as much as the negative, but it's important to have those two balances.
100%. I think that, you know, what you praise gets repeated. And so as a leader, that's super important to know, whether you're leading your kids or whether you're leading anybody, what you praise gets repeated. And so when good attitude is displayed, you want to praise it, because then it's going to get repeated. One of the things that I think my dad did such a good job, and one of the blessings and one of the things I'm most grateful for about him, is he always praised my effort almost over anything else. He praised my effort with regards to how hard I studied, with regards to how hard I played in my football games and baseball games and stuff like that. Like, obviously we wanted to win as well, but he praised effort over everything else. And therefore I saw success